2 lights have died. Fantastic. Just can't get the staff, can you? 2 freaking LED lights as well. God damn you. Twitch.
2 LED. You had 2 LED like LED bulbs. You mean?
No, well there'll be 4. There's 4 in each. Both are gone. So I've got like less light from here. Tell you, it was flickering last night, and I should have paid attention. I should have been like, "Ooh."
Yeah. When an LED starts flickering, it's like they don't.
That's the end of its life.
Yeah, like it's not like a a light bulb, a standard bulb, an incandescent where it's like maybe it'll still be there. No. When an LED's flickering, it's like, yeah, you're about to just lose this one.
Goodbye. um, all right. Did I seriously? Oh my god! There we go.
What have you done?
Well, I can't type with this. I can't type with this, and so every time I went to hit a key, I was hitting like one. So like there's so many enters in this. Like it was like a very trunked message going to Twitter. But
It's exactly the kind of communication I hate. Like I hate. If there's one thing I hate, it's when somebody has a long series of like a long message to tell me, and I have no problem with just sitting here and waiting for you to type. But what I hate is when people take like and break it out into like 17 messages. Because now I've got part of the message, but I know there's more coming, and I have to sit here and wait for you.
yeah, and also it's the prefix of saying something, and then you have to wait. Like they'll type like one line, but then they'll type the 50. So you're like, oh,
You just like the person that I'm talking to just has a very low bit depth, and I'm a 64-bit, dude over here. Like, wait, no, I can handle much bigger words than this. Come on.
Well, we'll just see what happens. We'll just have to see. Seraphita's just tweeted, OMG, you guys are back.
Yeah, well, I have been for weeks now. Where's she been? She wasn't here last week.
No, I think she was on vacation. Stubby, have you check Will for dangerous weapons? Oh, because I see. He's
I think Will's only a danger to himself.
That is. It's just me and my dangers. Danger's my middle name. Right. Well, apparently we're live then, because everything seems to be pointing to the fact that we are. So we might as well kickstart this off with an intro. With an intro. I've put away my Evernote as well because I thought we weren't going to even make it, and we did make it. So let's go. All right. So, nice to meet you. Oh no, here they come. Here they come. Yes. So, welcome to episode 24 of Demoralizing Shout, where we are cut and bloodied, but it was highly unlikely that it was a result of Stubby's D&D character landing any hits. Topics tonight include: we said we'd talk less about Warcraft last episode, then they released some tasty 6.1 notes. Is Elder Scrolls going free to play? And Stubby is finally finding his Windows rage, and with good reason. Joining me tonight tonight, as he does every night at 10/9 Central on twitch.tv/demoshout, is my partner in hand wounds at Stubby. How are you this Tuesday, sir?
I have all my fingers.
What have you been up to, man?
I don't know, cripple. Oh, okay. I've been working a lot. That's what I've been doing. I've been hard at it.
but you've now got some playtime coming up because you've got something to play on.
I've got something to play on. I have slipped the surly bounds of OS X and touched the face of Gates.
Oh my goodness me! We're not even 30 seconds into the show, and his homebrewed saying, "Did Will finally download Master Plan?" I did, but here's the thing: I have not installed it. One step at a time. I promised I'd download it. Haven't installed it yet, but I did think about it when I logged in yesterday, and I thought, oh, I should really just like log out, and I'm like, no, I'm in now. I'll do it next time before I log back in. What can I say?
What's great is that every time you have to open one of those chests, I'm sure your thing is, I should really install Master Plan. Click.
Oh, God. Do you know, so I guest hosted on The Sundering on Sunday. Apparently everyone was dropping like flies on that side. So Seraphis said, hey, can you come and guest on the show? And I'll be, yeah, sure, fine. And out of nowhere, the topic, he just like, oh, I've got to talk about this, like, this is my hat tip or pro tip, or just the tip, I think they call it over there. He said, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, what is this? It wasn't in the show notes. And he's like, talking about Master Plan. I'm like, for goodness sake, I can't get it from every direction I sit. In Guild chat, they were talking about it. On Vent, they were talking about it. In Raid, they were talking about it. I'm like, I get the idea. So,
it will change your life.
It will.
It will make just dealing with those things, because after a while, you know, your followers really do become like dependents. They rely on you to do everything for them, do all their thinking for them. Like, and it's nice to just say, okay, I got 25 followers that could all do something. I've got 17 missions available. I'm just going to click 100% on each one of them. Just let it go.
Let it go. Yeah, I should. And I'm probably in the length of time it takes for me to go through the sort of the jiggling of the chest, if for want of a better term.
We went straight to the toilet. That's
we really
amazing.
Did. I know. It would have been. Oh, hey, Not As Old just joined us. It probably would have been the case of, as I mentioned, jiggling chests. In walks my wife to the chat room.
Right.
Fabulous timing. It's a case of I probably could have installed it in the length of. I could have like logged out, logged back in, because I mean it's not a short period of time when particularly with like a 3-person mission. You know, you've got to watch all 3 of them kill the guy, and then it's I could have done it like 19 times over by now.
With Master Plan, you press one button. It's like you get a little bit kind of a loading bar for each one. But not Will. No. Will could have convenience, but instead do things the hard way.
I tried to do the washing up, and I cut my finger. What can I say? So, anyway...
Speaking of doing things the hard way...
Wait, no, was that a segue to our D&D campaign, or...
Oh. So I buy you this very nice gift, and you use it to destroy me. I basically after a certain point, I was just like, okay, I'm kind of done with this game for today, and I just let everybody else play, because I was like, I cast a spell, I attacked 3 times, each time I missed.
Well, no, but no, this you're not rolling. You're rolling against a solid stat that is in black and white. I mean, this is not something.
I know, but I'm convinced. I'm convinced that by giving you that die, that was actually the catalyst for my downfall that very day. So next week, no more of these. Like, no more of this digital die. I have my own bag of dice. I am rolling my own die next week.
I don't think you actually rolled higher than. Oh, well, let's back it up.
I never rolled more than a. I know.
You didn't roll
my initiative. My initiative roll was a 20.
Yeah.
But after that, it was nothing. Nothing reached double digits.
No. I think the highest was a 6, which was just highly amusing, and it was it got to the point of hilarity, really. And what was weird was that Core seemed to be actually rolling pretty good. Like, well, no, he had a couple of misses, but he did hit something with his arrows.
Yeah.
So there's something was definitely askew.
I think I must have received some sort of curse from him. He like I maybe he had some sort of ritual after last week. I think what it is, it was that woman.
Sloan.
He's convinced that with my high charisma that I might have a better chance than him.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Oh, maybe Don, Sloane's other half, is into some voodoo or something. And he's back at the. He's back at the. Oh, well, we'll fix this.
Possibly a leg for a leg, he says.
And I love it that only at least one person I know who's listening to the show right now actually knows the reference of Sloane and Don.
Sloane.
Yeah, it's so great.
Two of the most 80s names you could come up with for characters in a D&D campaign.
But it's where I got them from, and you've got like no clue where I pulled it from, but I do know my wife knows, which is great. So anyway, yeah, D&D was fun. That was fun. I've got another one.
It was fun for some people. Yes,
for some people. But we'll see where it goes on Thursday night with the other group. Now they're off the boat. That's all exciting. Yeah, we shall see. So we promised no talk of Warcraft. We break that promise. I tried to sort of diffuse it a little bit with a little bit of D&D talk, a little bit, try to diffuse it. But we are going to talk about some more Warcraft because a bunch of stuff came out. Is it good? Is it exciting? Is it bad?
I think it's good. I think none of it's official. This is all data mine stuff. I think we should, preface everything that's about to be talked about by saying that none of this is Blizzard has not come out and said that this is stuff that's happening. This is mostly things that have been data mined or are inferred from things that Blizzard has said.
Mm-hmm.
So,
to you, what's like the highlight of what's said, and what would you call the low light of what is coming out in 6.1? What are you looking forward to, and what you're like, oh god, no?
Believe it or not, I'm actually looking forward to the stuff that's going to happen in Garrison again. I've kind of soured on Garrison a little bit. I like having my little space, but I've kind of soured. Like, it's not like it gets repetitive, but the things that are coming look very good. Specifically, that my first couple of invasions, I was very excited. I wanted to go out and kill a bunch of things and just get invasions all the time. But then after a while, you're like, well, if somebody has one, I'll go help them. But no, I'm not really that into it. But now they're going to add a new Garrison level called Platinum, a new Garrison invasion level. I'm sorry, it's a reward level. So you have bronze, silver, gold, and then Platinum is above gold. And I don't remember what the rewards for that is, and I don't actually know that I care. Just that there's going to be another. There's something to shoot for now. It's gotten to where gold is actually fairly easy to get if you're competent, and but to really kind of push the limit there, and would give me something to do with that every week.
Right.
And the other thing is that they've talked about, there is talk of 10 to 40 player bosses that you can summon into your garrison. So you would be able to, basically another piece of raid content that you can do outside of raids, which I think is something very cool that makes your garrison a little more lively.
Now, so let's back this up. So we're talking about raid bosses of old, you think?
They haven't really said. I don't think it's going to necessarily be old raid bosses.
Ooh.
So much as it might be. I mean, we might certainly see some re-envisioned bosses. Okay. From Draenor lore.
Right. With gear drops, with appropriate gear drops.
Yeah. What would be the point in doing it if you didn't get some sort of? If there wasn't a congruent reward, an equivalent reward for the amount of effort you're going to put into it. Because when you talk about 40 man bosses in your garrison,
Mm.
that means that either those things are going to start becoming part of the pre-made finder
Mm.
system, or uh, it's going to be the kind of thing that you and 39 of your closest WoW playing friends would go do.
Right. Right. Um. What I would not like it to be would be that there to be like a 40-man boss, where for me to get this particular boss, I need 40 people, uh, because I don't want to have to deal with.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That would annoy me. If they're like, well, if you want to get this really good mount, then you've got to find 40 people. Can't be.
Yeah, I think the place for 40-man content is open world.
Right. Yes.
And zone tag open world 40-man, like, totally okay. I can totally see, like, that's the place for that. But taking it to something like, well, you're actually going to have to find 40 people that are going to go visit Leader's Garrison to do this thing. That's where it's like, I don't know, like, and there's clearly a guess that this is going to happen.
Mm.
So I'm curious to see whether or not this is going to be some sort of flex thing, or whether 40-man boss is going to award more or give better stuff. I don't know. But I'm very interested in it because I feel like they want to focus on making the garrison more than just a resource mill,
Right.
which is what it very quickly became. So, I'm really digging this. I'm really hoping this turns into something cool.
Question for you, out of sort of nowhere, out of thin air, but just because I sort of envisioned it in my head as you were talking. What would you say the differences now that we see between the, world bosses of old, of the vanilla days that you'd see, as you sort of walk around, you get that nice big flying dragon and stuff that people would kite to Stormwind and all that kind of fun stuff in the aspects. What would you say? What are the changes that you feel and things that were good then and things that were bad then to what we have now? I think they have changed to some degree. Even and they shifted. We had the big one up in the Hellfire during the Burning Crusade, and then we went on and we saw other world bosses through other expansions. Where do you think they've started? Where do you think they've come? What's that journey been? What have they done right? What are they doing wrong with that? Because people are always, that's one of the big questions you see as you log in on a Tuesday, Wednesday. Hey, anyone done the world boss yet? And everyone wants to jump in on that.
Yeah. I think so. Back in vanilla, the world boss was as close to side content as you got, but they kind of made it required for some of these longer legendary chains, and it did kind of become the sort of thing that, because gearing a 40-man raid was not easy and took a lot of time, a world boss had some merit and some value to it. Then that kind of disappeared in Burning Crusade because it was fairly easy to gear people once they started switching to that token system. And by token, I don't mean like the Seals of Judgment and but rather the token system for tier. But so who was it we had? We had Lord Cruel. Was that his name, or was he
in BC? Was that Cruel?
Yeah, there were two bosses. One of them was in the Blasted Lands, and then went on to Hellfire and was on that demonic rise over there in Hellfire. And he was replaced
High Lord Cruel.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he was replaced in Blasted Lands by another dude that I don't recall now. So you had him. I seem to remember there being another one, but I don't recall.
So after Dark Portal reopened, he officially replaced Lord Kazakh. or doing
Yeah,
Lord Kazakh. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You had
That.
Terramus the Devourer was the dragon that I was thinking of, which was we'd often get kited up to Stormwind to wreak havoc.
Right,
Um,
the one over there by the portal in the near Darkshire.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
not really a boss anymore, but he used to be. And it was that was
it's
great.
not
It was good.
not even there anymore. They got rid of the night.
Oh,
Night.
did they pull him off? Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the evolution of those bosses goes, you you saw them disappear in Wrath of the Lich King. I don't think. Yeah, I think they were gone in Cataclysm. Then they kind of made a comeback in Mists of Pandaria with the various Shah that would,
Right.
and they had very short spawn timers, and basically everybody would just go out there and wipe them until they killed them, and just amass more and more people to help down him, knowing full well that he would respawn very quickly,
Hmm.
and you could take two groups and down him down him without having to form a full 40-man group to kill him. And now in Draenor you have the one guy in Gorgrond. I I have not done any of these guys because I don't really see much point in them.
Right.
But that's just me. I have a raid. We do content. I get gear. I don't really need to do these optional guys to supplement anything at this point. But you have an Orgron, I think. Is he Gron or Orgron? He's the lava Gron in Gorgron.
Yeah. And then you've got the
He's the one I can't remember, but you're gonna tell me. You know this guy. Come on, Will.
This guy. I'm on it. It is it's gone. No. I can't tell you.
That's how important they are. I mean, but I value the fact that they do that because it seems like they're kind of keeping to their promise of many different ways to accomplish the same tasks. The tippy top are going to go straight for a raid, clear it, do heroic, do mythic, be awesome. Then the less tippy top,
Yeah.
the more, for lack of a better word, the more mediocre are going to go for normal, potentially heroic. My group's doing heroic now, and then the rest of us are going to do normal or LFR.
Yeah,
I think the world bosses kind of fit somewhere in there.
You got Talna, the Ageless, in Southern Gorgrond, who their mechanic was summoning a whole bunch of the flowers that you stomp out, as you see at the end of the Everbloom boss.
Yeah, the boss that you got us killed on. Yeah.
Did I get you killed on that?
You got me killed on at least.
It's so what can I say? Whoops. And Drov the Ruiner is the sort of the
he's the magma, the lava Gorgon.
Yeah, lava dude.
Ron dude.
And then you got the bird Rokmar or Rukmar.
Yeah, Rukmar. As told you by Megatron in Spires of Aroth.
That's right. Yeah. So, but I mean, that's kind of where it fits, really, in your mind. It's like this is not content that you have to do, and it's. I mean, you get a shot at the like pretty decent pants and something off there. Pretty decent.
I think they're the only ones that drop belts. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that my monk desperately needs a belt, and he's not going to get it from raiding. My brewmaster monk's not going to get a belt from doing Heimall at this point. He's basically got a draw. And I'm just like, I don't need a belt that bad.
Yeah. That would be like, wow, it's painful as stabbing your finger with that. Oh, yeah. Other stuff that came up on here, well, this is something I'm not looking forward to. Oh, no, you tell me, what are you not looking forward to then from this list? Because I know exactly what I'm not looking forward to from this list of 6.1 information. Or do you not have any? Are you looking forward to everything?
I don't have anything that I'm just not looking forward to, but I have things that are like, I don't really much care. Like there's a couple things in here, like Drainic Pet Battler now requires fun. Like they're changing some of these achievements so they make them simpler, or they're adding some new toys. Like this is actually kind of cool. The Sargari disguise
Mm.
from the Garrison, that's actually becoming a toy. Several of these things that are normally just stuff that kind of sit in your bags. The scroll of storytelling. If you've done much of the Winter's Veil stuff, scroll of storytelling is this thing that you can use that basically puts a sepia tone and a kind of an embossment on the screen for 2 minutes, so it looks like an old timey lithotype,
Right.
or lithograph. Yeah, I don't really. There's not really anything in here that I'm just,
So
I
what are your
really wish they
feelings on
would do
the
this.
what are your feelings on the Twitter integration? Because that's the thing that I'm like really like. It's a cool idea, and again we talked a little bit about on a couple of different shows now. But the thought of integrating Twitter into Warcraft, it's going to make my Twitter feed even more annoying, and there'll be more people muted as they spam every little achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, neat functionality. If you really want to do that screenshot, you can put it straight from in-game, which is cool. But my concern is that it's going to become really spammy on the Twitter end.
Yeah. Because one of the things they've said is that they think that achievements are going to be part of that. As you get an achievement, it will show up in your in Twitter, and the proliferation of achievements in this game means that you could see a ton of those. Now, it doesn't really bother me because I ignore most of Twitter anyway.
Right.
Basically, I skip over half of it. I use it to kind of connect with people, but also to get information.
Yeah.
And like news and stuff. But if I'm following you, know that I'm following you for a reason. I like you. But I'm probably not reading half of what you say.
Yeah,
especially if it's,
you're in and out. You're in and out, like you're precision.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I'm going in to get this information and get back out again.
Yeah.
And the best way to have that is a Twitter account. It makes sense.
Yeah, I want to see what Smashing Magazine's putting out.
Right.
I want to see if they've got anything new. I want to see if some of my favorite developers are learning anything new that they're talking about. But most of the people that I follow personally, I follow because I like them, not because I want to consume their content. No offense, people that I like.
And I'm sure nobody would take it. It's amazing how many people, and it's funny, someone who works in the whole sort of branding and sort of social media thing. I should not be saying this, but the fact is that there are a lot of people who live on Twitter. Here's the thing: Twitter and Facebook and all the other sort of social all the time. I'm like, how do you have time to actually do anything else? It's like, because if I jump on, I'm just going to flick through my feed. I'm literally, and I will stop at something that might grab my eye, which is why I probably don't participate in 90% of Twitter conversations. But if something grabs my eye, I'll find it, and I have like an alert if Tristan ever tweets just because something about me. What did I do now? Here's how I find out. But I usually just scroll through it. So it is a case of am I just going to do even more scrolling? And I'm just not looking forward to having to be even more precise in trying to find what I use Twitter to find information that I want to find. In business, I'll use it as a tool for the tool that it's useful, but as a personal consumer, I'm very much like you. I'm in and out. I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. I have really little interest, or maybe that's a terrible thing to say. Little time to find to be able to find what just that sort of surfy feel. And if I am doing that, then that I'm just having a slow moment, a slow day, or having a Windows stressful moment that I have to reboot the system. Mm-hmm. I'm just concerned that I'm just going to see this flood of and really, is there a place for social media in gaming in general? Do we need to have this connectivity when you've got them built into the PS4, you've got them built into the Xbox One, probably maybe even the Wii U? I'm not sure if I think I've seen it on there too. I can do it from my Vita, and it's like I can do it from all of these different gaming places. and every time I'm playing those systems, guess what? I've got my mobile phone next to me anyway, and my
Yeah.
my iPad. I'm like, how much? I don't know.
I think that this that it actually uh, makes a very pointed argument for forums that are specifically for that, for formats that are specifically for that. Twitch, for instance, Twitch is all about gaming, and now there are people that would argue that that some people get away with content that's not gaming related. I don't care. That's the edge case, and that's maybe that's a violation of terms, but it's not what I'm discussing. That's not what I'm talking about. Twitch is specifically centered around gaming, and on your PS4 you can stream to Twitch. On your computer you can stream to Twitch. On, I assume, your Wii U and your Xbox.
You can on Xbox. You can't on your Wii U.
Okay.
Which really surprised me and really annoys me because that's the stuff I want to stream. So I've got to.
Yeah. Okay. So but the funny thing is, it's actually inverse on the Wii, in that they've kind of built their own little social network.
Yeah.
Where you have player discovery.
Yes.
But I agree with you almost entirely when it comes to talking about Twitter and Facebook, in that the more of this that gets thrown there, the more noise there is and the less signal. The less consumable content there is, and the more content that's basically just mundane crap. It takes something like WoW and makes it into Farmville.
Yeah.
It makes it into this sort of thing that's just crowding up somebody's timeline or their stream or whatever it might be in your particular social media. And so then when somebody talks about WoW, I'm less likely to pay attention. When somebody talks about Guild Wars or even Destiny or whatever, I may be less likely to listen because I just see so much of that I'm just tired of it. So I might be coming closer to your side on that, because not so much that I'm concerned about seeing it, but that I'm concerned that maybe it devalues the medium. Maybe it devalues the content.
Yeah, and it's funny, once everybody... Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's at, isn't it? Once you start to make noise acceptable...
Yeah.
I think you have a real problem. So, whereas people have really moved away from forums in a big way. And they never were the majority of people going to the forums anyway. It's always the vocal few who go to the forums. Maybe a lot more people lurk than we perhaps would give credit for.
I think that when it comes to forums, like specifically the WoW forums, because that's where what you're talking about at this point. The people that you see there are people who feel that is a place that they can go to enact change. That's a misguided perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that's what people think.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you just to say that.
No, I agree. No, I mean, I completely agree. That's the thing. We've sort of come to that moment where we're like, oh crap, we both agree on this. And I had no real direction with this other than I saw it on the list. It's odd. We've sort of diverged slightly off of our general topic. I mean, it still covers it, but you know what I mean. It's like, I'm just not sure.
There was a reason I put it on there, because it's a small thing. It's, to me, it's inconsequential, but I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be like you and kind of, not like it. All your friends that you follow from WoW, all your friends that you follow from perhaps Hearthstone and StarCraft and Diablo, perhaps these things are suddenly going to, because they have achievements too. Perhaps it will become a BattleNet wide thing, and that's not scary, but it's a little troubling to think that now that information is just going to be all over the place. Not that it's a privacy issue or anything, but just that it's cruft is what it really is.
Yeah, exactly. I without poo poo, I don't want to poo poo the whole thing. I still think it's a neat way to get screenshots out quickly. Like, there's a
Yeah,
plus side because there's nothing worse than having that convoluted. Okay, got to tab out the game. Got to go pull up the folder, dig in like 3 folders below that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, and then I got to upload or whatever. No, that's neat. Cool.
it's a
So
it's a wise Blizzard that doesn't put that in front of people and say you should definitely connect your Twitter. You know, it's a wise Blizzard that puts that someplace where somebody might go, that's neat, but not be like, broadcast to Twitter. But I feel like that's probably not. I feel like that's probably going to be something they're going to put in front of people because they're going to want to use that as a sort of place to make WoW seem a lot bigger.
yeah.
Make it visibly more pronounced.
What I will screenshot, I promise I will screenshot from the game if that does come into it. Again, this is somewhat speculation, but if that's what's appearing and that's what's coming out, my first, or it might not be my first screenshot, but I will make sure I screenshot getting a 660 eye level token from a Foundry mission because I know it will enrage so many people. The hell he got a token from what? Wait, what? But yeah, I mean, that's something that's coming up. Again, should we be getting token gear from? Because we're talking about tier gear. Right?
No. The tokens are actually. I mean, you get them now from the turbulent pieces and the what is the 645 gear?
Okay, so the stuff that's like you can make it for this specialization. That's what you mean by token?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, not your tier tokens. What they're talking about is that when you send a followers on a BlackRock Foundry mission, you are going to send them off to bring you back 640 eye level tokens.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that was then okay. That's not so bad because that's.
No, they have. I think they've made it very clear that they do not want tier to be something that the casual, the everyman gets. That is something that you have to go into the raid.
Well, that was going to say because they pulled it from LFR, so I misread that. My bad. Good job for my inability to comprehend that. I immediately thought tier token, which just would have caused some understandable QQ with the whole it being pulled from LFR. We never actually talked. What are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about not having tier tokens in LFR and good, bad?
It's the way to go. I totally agree with it. Simply because we've had this discussion several times, and I've referred to LFR as like the diorama of raid.
Right.
It is a tourist mode, and to give people the iconic piece, the iconic set from that devalues the need to go heroic or normal or mythic.
Right.
Which normal is not that much more difficult than LFR. It just requires that you pay attention. It requires that you do mechanics.
Yeah.
Not
overly hard mechanics at that.
Yeah. Not super difficult, but it just requires that you be competent.
Maybe if you'd been drinking an awful lot, the mechanics might be slightly more challenging on drunk raids. But outside of that, no, they're not. It's not hard at all. The news of I was trying to get my head around this. I read the article a couple of times. The veteran edition. Have you wrapped your brain around this? What this possible?
I'm not 100% sure what it is. I don't think anybody really is.
It's a possible new subscription model. But then I read the article. I'm not kidding you. I read it 3 times, and at this point I hadn't cut my finger, so it wasn't like I'm bleeding out. I should really read up on what we might be talking about. This is before any of that happened, so I couldn't get my head around it. I'm like, what?
And this is all coming from the same data mine source. Like most of this data is coming from the 6.1 data mining, and there's several places there's reference to a a tier of the game called Veteran Edition, which people are thinking is a tier up from the Starter Edition, the trial version of WoW. I personally think that it's potentially for players that have played the game before, that want to come back to the game and try it, but don't want to pay for the subscription. I suspect that might be what their intent is.
And they'll limit you how? That you can't get to 100? That like you'll be stuck at 99?
I don't actually I don't they I don't know. I mean, because that's what I think, but at the same time, it goes against everything I've said about this expansion, and that this expansion kind of makes the game into a 90 to 100 experience. It's a 10 level game. That Blizzard is basically at this point saying that we don't really want to keep catering to the lower levels. We will keep making it so that it's easier to get through that stuff, but we are not going to go back and revisit that stuff and make it easier for you to do it. We'll just make it less of a grind to do it. So I don't know. It's really confusing to me because what could this possibly be? Veteran implies that it's somebody who has played the game before. I mean, the term veteran implies that. So what does that mean? Where do you start somebody who's just coming back to the game when your content is 90 to 100?
Yeah. I'll be interested to see where this goes. It seems an odd term. Like, to me, I feel the veterans of the game should be the people who, who have actually been playing it through. Like we long term. The veterans the guys who've been doing it, churning it out for the last 8 years. Maybe here we go. And if this turns out to be true, they listen to our broadcast, change their plan. Guys, I got this great idea. Wednesday morning, like in the Blizzard round room. I have this great idea, guys. I got this great idea.
It's incredible. It's great.
It's a great idea. Don't worry, it just came to me in a dream. What it is that they say, for the people who pay $15 a month, we're going to give it to them for half that price because they're veterans. They have been with us through thick and thin. It's not going to happen. Just saying it right now. But wouldn't that be nice? How often does it bug you when you call up your television provider or your satellite provider or cable provider or phone provider, and because you've seen a commercial on there that says, if you're new, come and join us and we'll give you 5 DVR boxes in HD. We'll give you a big flat screen TV. We'll give you a free $900 phone if you sign up for us. And you'd be like, oh, I've got to get on this. You call them up, they're like, no, sorry, this only applies to new customers. But like, what the hell? I've been with you for however long. Why shouldn't I get this? You should be rewarding the veterans. To me, that's what I see when I think of veterans. I'm like, reward the people who have been there through thick and thin. Not the people. Much like
if you were to call, say, I have a satellite dish, and if I were to call my satellite provider and tell them, you know what, I'm thinking about canceling my service, they would probably come back with some great deal to convince me not to, because I mean they have their customer retention personnel. That's their job. What if Blizzard had a customer retention wing that was designed? Okay. How about this? Listen to this. Are you listening? $4 for the next 6 months. Okay. And 50% off on any mount between here and the end of that term.
And I'll be like, could you throw in maybe like guaranteed loot drop on every other boss?
Right. What if all of a sudden they were like, oh, and you know what? Here. Listen, watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to throw in the Alliance tote bag. All right. This is a 32 slot bag. Only available to you. I'm not giving this to everybody. Okay. This is just to you. If you accept this offer within the next 48 hours.
And you know what? Here's the thing. You don't have to save 100,000 gold. You wanted that chopper? we've got. Oh, you play Horde? Don't worry. When you log in, that chopper's going to be waiting for you on your level 1.
Right. Yeah, you weren't here for it, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll make that happen.
That would be fantastic.
Like WoW becomes like joining a gym. It's
Oh my word. The future. Can you imagine the world of MMOs? Like if it didn't go, if like free to play was just like all of the MMOs people got together. It's like, okay, look, let's just get rid of free to play, right? This is how we do it. We've got to work. We've got to work as a team on this one, right? We've all got to do this. Yeah. ESO.
no means no. No means no. Okay.
Means
like,
no, yeah.
no more free ride.
Homebrew says, throw in the murky battle pet and deal.
I picture a Homebrewed as one of those guys that was at the capsule machine that had literally, okay, this is my story. At BlizzCon, my wife and I went to the capsule machine. We just bought a couple of coins and threw them into there was a dude next there that had like 3 bags full of capsule toys. They would come and they'd fill it up, and he's still just turning his coins, just trying to he's just trying to get murky out of one of those capsules. But really, all he needed to do was cancel his account and hold out for that murky pet.
Now hold on, don't hang up, sir. Don't hang up. Listen, I tell you what we'll do. Look, the Haunted Memento. We will have. Look, we changed it recently in a silent hotfix, but we will make it available to you in its original glory. What? No, what is this haunted? Sorry, what's this Haunted Memento hotfix you're telling me about? Can you please explain? How's that for a frickin' segue?
Yeah, that's a great segue. Like, if you didn't notice, and I did, I noticed this. I noticed this because for a completely different reason. Not because like I was pissed off that I noticed this happened, but they when 6.0 hit, they changed the Haunted Memento. The Haunted Memento was if you took part in the Scourge invasion that happened before Wrath of the Lich King, this thing would sometimes drop off the things that you'd kill, and it was like the Voodoo Skull or the Happy Fun Rock, or it was something you could throw at other players. But if you had it in your bag, you were kind of chased by one of those wraith-like creatures from not Nax.
Yeah,
they were called eyes. They were called the Eye of Nax.
Eye of Nax. Yeah.
In Stratholme.
Yes.
But they were like super. Yeah. But they were super transparent. It was basically just kind of like people could see it, but it was meant to be like not like obtrusive.
Yeah, no, it's very subtle. Quite often you'd be like, "Oh, cripes!" It almost looked like a bit of ghosting, like ghost shadowing. If you didn't,
and you had the haunted buff, right? And I loved this thing simply for that buff. I didn't care too much about the pet, but the fact that I had this like haunted buff was actually pretty cool because it's even more subtle. That you have this buff. Anyway, they changed in 6.0. They changed it so that it was not a constant buff and not a constant pet. What happens is that occasionally this thing would show up and it lasts for 15, 20 seconds and then it's gone again. I think this was actually a good idea. Because it actually became a problem after Lich King.
Well, what was the problem? What was the problem that it was causing?
They say that their problem was that it caused problems when you had large numbers of creatures on the screen, and I can kind of see that because if you've ever done Elegon with a machine that's not like really good, he's very difficult because there's a lot of transparent textures, and the more transparent textures you have, the more intersections you have, the more demanding it is on your card. And so these things are transparent, so they kind of work the same way. But the thing that really bothered me about it was if you ever zoned in from one area to another, every time this thing shows up, your character cowers. When Lich King came out, they introduced the cower emote.
Hmm.
And every time you would go into a new zone, this thing would spawn, and your character would cower. If you were on a flying mount, that meant that your character would then turn around and go the other direction for a few seconds and then turn back the other direction. And it could actually really screw you up. It could really, like, it could throw you. I mean, it actually was kind of a to the point that I left it in my bank.
Well, particularly like flying over something like when you'd fly over like Wintergrasp, where you got that auto dismount. If like, oh, I just made it out,
Yeah.
But if you sort of zoned out, if you like turned off, you logged off at that point. So when you then log in, flying,
Or if you're like me and you like set your mount in a direction, you're like, okay, that's where I want to go, and I
tab out.
I hit auto run, and I like, but then I come back and my dude's on the ground.
Yeah.
Because no, that it was really annoying, and so to the point, like I said, I put it in my bank, and I forgot about it. But this expansion, I noticed that wasn't happening anymore, and it wasn't until a little bit later that I reconciled with myself that they had fixed the cower emote problem, where you still do the cower emote, but it doesn't stop you from like moving forward. It doesn't do anything to your character's motion.
Right.
But I also noticed that the cower remote would happen at random instances as opposed to when I would zone into a new area. And that's when I noticed, oh, like the thing isn't there all the time. And I could honestly not care less that it's not there all the time. But apparently a ton of people are pretty pissed off. They're very upset that they've made this change. As is always the case when they make a change.
Always the case, right? And how many people actually noticed who are that upset as opposed to just jumping on the bandwagon? Funny, I loved the Haunted Memento so much because it gave me so much gold. I did it on like 24 characters. And
yeah, because you could sell it on the auction house and everybody wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even to this, I think I've got like 4 or 5 still left that I know that I can sell for a lot of. Now I'm wondering
one of the few gray quality items that you could probably do that to.
I'm just wondering how much it will sell for now. It's been nerfed. So maybe I'll hit that rate.
Let me correct that. That it was a gray level item. Now it's a white item.
Oh, no,
it was white when they introduced it. Then, if I recall correctly, it became gray, and I may actually just be
maybe
yeah. But now it's a white item with no. It doesn't have that throw action on it.
So that's I guess a good change all in all.
Yeah.
Really. Any news from any other MMOs? Anything else we can talk about?
This is all just kind of rumor, but it's looking like Elder Scrolls Online.
Never stopped us before.
Elder Scrolls Online. There's a lot of people saying that they think it's going to go free to play for several reasons.
Okay.
None of which I've really found too solid until I read, and I don't remember where I read this, so I apologize. But in Australia, several stores had every copy of Elder Scrolls Online recalled and taken back. When asked about it, Bethesda said, "Oh, it's after Christmas. We recall stock that doesn't sell." and the response from analytical people was that that's not exactly how that works. You tend to take back the stuff that didn't really sell. Bethesda has recalled everything. The games, the time cards, everything.
That's a little sus right there.
If you're taking the time cards off the shelf, if you're taking the game off the shelf, I understand. But if you're taking the time cards off the shelf, that's indicative of a much bigger move. Much bigger move.
Is this a good move for them? For Elder Scrolls? I mean, like it's been out what, a year?
I don't It's been quite that long.
Was within the really, so it's a little bit less than. Yeah, I feel actually. I think you're right. I think this time last year we were talking about, or I was talking about, like the beta of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Let's see.
that's kind of interesting. I did see a statistic that said. Let me just pull it up now while you look at that.
It was
Um,
yeah, it was released on April 4th. April 4th. Hmm.
I interested on. I want to know where I saw it this week, and I felt it was Final Fantasy. That all of the no, it was in all of the. I wish I could find it now. Less than.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember this. You actually linked this to me.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was where Final Fantasy, all the Final Fantasy Online games are like less than 1 million subscribers at this point.
Added together.
Yeah, yeah. If you took them all, they're less than 1 million subscribers at
Okay.
this point.
Which goes in goes sort of on the whole stuff moving to free to play, the decline of MMOs, and we've talked about this, several episodes back. We're talking about the decline of MMOs, that the landscape's changing, and here, as we're talking about it, Blizzard is able to shift that landscape, redefine that landscape, have more people come in. Sure, we're going to see a dip. It's not going to be a surprise. We're going to see a dip in World of Warcraft, and it's going to go. We'll see a little hit that I'm confident of, but the fact is, when everybody else has been dipping, they're getting stronger again.
I think,
And they're not going anywhere.
I think that that what Blizzard has done is focused less on progressive content. I'm sorry, progression content, and more on how do I keep the player engaged without having to invest a ton of time in creating a huge content patch, which like look at the best example is WildStar from last year. They were trying these small but large content drops, and that turned out to be a big problem for them because it turned into big bug fests. Whereas if you can take what Blizzard has done, if you look at the notes for the quote unquote notes for 6.1, most of this is not, hey, here's Highmall, or not Highmall, here's BlackRock Foundry, and here's a bunch of gear you can get. It's, look, we're going to throw some more items at you. We're going to move some things around. We're going to add another level of difficulty to something very simple, not something very difficult that needs to be tuned very wildly. And I think that's a smart maneuver on their part, especially knowing that the days of doing things where they have to spend a lot of time on them resulted in a decline, where the smaller things seem to be working.
I can't argue with that. That's the thing. I mean, I really can't. I mean, it's you're spot on with that.
And the thing is, like, Guild Wars 2, I often mention, I actually am really thinking about returning to that with the new year, especially with the new machine. I'm dying to see what it looks like on this new computer. I'm still convinced that their best content was when they provided me with something that let me make my own fun. When they provided me with my favorite content patch of all for Guild Wars 2 was the Bazaar of the Four Winds. That Zephyrite content, when they added the labyrinthine cliffs, and it was basically just, here's a ton of jumping puzzles, here's a couple little games you can do, but you'll probably have a lot of fun hanging out in this area. And I'm sure it took nothing for them to make that.
Right.
But I think it's when you allow players to socialize, when you allow them a place to go, and you don't throw the onus on them to perform, I think you get a lot of results. So you're still going to have those guys that want to do mythic, that want to do heroic, that want to do the cutting edge stuff. But I think it's quite obvious that that is not where most players are.
How do you how do you think with so much vying for our attention within the gaming world, be it the wealth, the plethora of MMOs that we have, many of which feature the same races and the same sort of spells and the same sort of classes, and you've got those that sort of try to be very different to that, coupled with we have essentially 5 consoles on the market, because 360 and PS3 are not written off. They're still bringing out games for those, and in fact, Final Fantasy, the latest one with Lightning, is only coming out on the PS3. It's not coming out on the PS4. So no, we're not making them for the PS4. And there's a few that have done this. We want to stick with the PS3 for this part. We'll start doing PS4, end of Q15 into Q16 and those sort of things. So there are 5 consoles out there. And then you've got the mobile technology, mobile games, left, right, and center, whether it be from your simple Farmvilles or Peggle or whatever, to you've got a couple of handhelds out there. Vita probably lesser. Was that another light that went out? Vita that was a little bit lesser to the 3DS and the 2DS and they're bringing out a brand new 3DS in less than a month. There's the new 3DS comes out. All of this vying for our attention. What does it take to be the winner of both game and machine? And on all of that I've mentioned, we've got Steam and all of that. We're seeing the retro revolution of stuff. The revival, I guess. This week, last week they announced that MS DOS games. That website, they just launched a whole bunch of old MS DOS games, which I think creativity in workplaces dropped. So, what do you think?
That's a lot of fish to throw out there. I don't know, but I need to look this up because I somehow missed this. Yep, I guess I did because this happened last year. But do you recall my whole Twitter campaign? Before BlizzCon, where I was talking about all the different things that Blizzard was going to announce, and how it was going to be Rock and Roll Racing or Blackthorn. I don't know when this happened, but I opened up my Battle.net and noticed that all of those games are suddenly in Battle.net via DOSBox. This has nothing to do with what you just said, but it just reminded me that these games are there. You can now play Blackthorn and Lost Vikings and Rock and Roll Racing.
Right, DOSBox.
Via DOSBox.
I'm telling you, man. There's so much, and Blizzard have a big quarter of the market. With it's not Overwatch, or at least it probably won't be Overwatch now with the with the little trademark issue that popped up this week. But you've got an FPS, you've got an MMO, you've got hack and slash, you've got a mobile game, and you've got an RTS. Mm-hmm. All of which are very solid, all of which have good to great PvP or co-op iterations to go in. Diablo obviously not having the PvP, but it's got the great sort of fun co-op. And I have to say, I'm playing on the PS4 Diablo. It's an absolute freaking blast. I'm loving it more than on the PC. Loving it more. It's something about sitting on that couch, running around, and the madness of co-op. Oh man, this is great.
Well, and I think if you look at Diablo and look at Overwatch, look at Heroes even.
Heroes too. Gosh, I forgot about Heroes.
You're looking at games that have very simplified play styles. They're actually not. It's the control system on Diablo, the control system on Overwatch, the control system on Heroes is really not that complicated, and it really is about drawing somebody in and giving them something. Here, just sit down, just try this. Maybe you won't like it, but we've got something else over here. If you don't like that, try this. We got this over here. And it's interesting that the newer Blizzard games are free. They're free to play, but not in the same way that, say, Elder Scrolls Online might be.
Right.
There's a compelling reason to spend money in a game like Hearthstone.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but you're definitely going to get a leg up. If you're Will Derringer, you will never spend a cent on Hearthstone. If you're Stubby, you will, just because you're like, I want some cards.
Yeah, but you draw your cards like you roll die, man.
Oh.
It's like you just gotta. I'm pretty sure Sean from A Bit of Geek and Nerdery had this belief for the longest time that if you have to spend like over $25 to actually get like one good card, and if you spend like the $20 mark, they're like, no, we're not going to give you a card. It's like, but if you spend that $25, it's like, I definitely got a card with that one.
Yeah, they seed it at 25.
Yeah.
They seed we're not necessarily going to give you something, but once you've reached 25, the modifier changes from like 5 to 14.
He'll listen to this show later on and kill me, but like I never really. Every time he sort of like would challenge me, particularly on A Bit of Geek and Nerdery, like, you try it, Will. Like, you go see it out. I'd never had the heart to tell him that I'd got my legendaries from free. Like, they're just free decks. Like, I've not spent money, and I'd still got legendaries.
Yeah.
Right? And he'd be like, no, but I've got. At the end of the day, he's like, I've got way more cards than you. Yeah, I know you have, but you've also spent like hundreds of dollars on cards.
If I'm not mistaken, I got a Nixia on my first, oh, you've got some gold. Go buy. Like, I think I got a Nixia off that pack.
That's solid.
Which was like, it's just random chance. But he might have something though. It might be like, if you spend $25, after $25, you have a better chance of getting something.
He had a great rant about it though. It was probably one of my favorite rants that he ever did in one of the teen episodes.
He had a
Yeah, really? Yeah, it's one of the teen episodes, I'm pretty sure. It's one of those early episodes. And he was like, I'm convinced it's rigged, man. And he came up with all of these things.
I think I remember that episode.
And I was like, there was no foundation for any of it whatsoever. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, right.
I love you to bits, but I've not experienced that. Oh, you gotta love it. All right, well, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully, as many fingers and as we have now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. For those who came to the chat room tonight, we appreciate it. For those listening to the show in one of the many recorded formats, please make sure you click subscribe to the channel, be it YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes. If you do all of them, well, we'll love you even more. You can find my co-host on Twitter at Stubby. That's Stubby. You can find me at D20Crit. That's D20CRIT. You can catch us live every Tuesday at 10/9 Central on twitch.tv/ADemoShout. Make sure you log on to all the W's.d20crit.com, where you can find more from Stubby, myself, this adorable folk at A Bit of Geek and Nerdery, the delectable duo at Dalaran Academy, as well as all the social media links and outlets you can throw a haunted memento at. Until next week, remember, if you tweet it, make it a gem. I wonder if I like radio disc jockey sign off there. Make it a gem.
That like delectable duo.
Oh.
You didn't go all stuffy nosed DJ though. Like
oh brother. Alright, let me stop on this thing. Boom. I meant to tell you, it's up there. It went up there just before the show went live. So if you want to let James know, it's there. Hopefully we'll get I really want to get this one up tomorrow.
Well, keep your fingers and toes and maybe it'll happen. It's really hard to cross my fingers.
I
was fully expecting like, hey Will, what finger did you cut? This one right here.
Oh, I made Ethan laugh so hard for that though. It was like, hey Ethan, look what finger. It's the only time you can do that, kid. he blood drained from his face. There's blood actually poured out of my there was blood all over the sink in the bathroom and just like it was like just glorious
Ugh.
amounts of blood. And he's like, "Dad, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit."
Sorry.
Something got delivered.
That was my wife throwing me an Ethernet cable.
Oh, so I picked up this today. The the PX22 gaming headset.
Oh.
Look at that tray.
Let me get a look at that again.
It's got the official gaming
Mm.
logo on there. It's nice. It's got on the little connector box here. You can control game volume, chat volume, as well as your mic volume. You've got quick, easy bass. You got bass and treble and all sorts of things. It's got a little
Nice.
hook this on your belt if you want to, because walking around with a cable, good idea. And like I'm not kidding you, like 20 foot of cable, which is like solid. What was that for?
Oh, I was getting noise from my.
Oh,
I was trying to I was getting ready to flip you off, but then I heard, and I was like, "Are you playing music?"
no, that's not.
But no, it was some tab
Oh,
and because somebody suddenly decided, oh, let's lazy load an ad in for you.
did you see they did Hearthstone? Someone turned a Daxari. I saw he put it on my Facebook feed. The Hearthstone music in 8-bit. Did you see that?
It seems like I've heard that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Pretty cool.
It seems like I have. Hmm.
I hate it when you show your age in a comment somewhere. Someone tweeted this picture of a cat fight, and I've seen it before actually. It's this video of a cat fighting little paper cutout soldiers, and like it's
Mhm.
this big war. I don't know if you've seen it. Like it's a video meme, I guess, if there's such a thing. And the cat obviously the cat they added stuff in later, but the cat then like chewing off biting the legs off the paper soldiers, and there's this great scenes of like one of the guys dragging half a body to cover behind a pillow. It's a really fun dumb video.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, the aftermath of this video needs a soundtrack," and I linked to Adagio for Strings by Barber. And he's like, that's a kind. He's like, his reply was, "That's kind of slow music." I'm like, how do you not appreciate like Adagio for Strings? Like, Platoon soundtrack has been used in countless parodies in
Yeah.
pretty much every comedy since then. It's like the thing that you go to if you want to show the aftermath of a war, of which this is kind of, it's like, oh. He did hashtag respect well damn once I explained it to him, because I was like, I'm not gonna let this go. I'm gonna rage about it.
Oh man.
How do you not know? Like whether you be like British and like Red Dwarf and Spaced, or if you're American and like Simpsons and How I Met Your Mother and Seinfeld, SNL, like it's been on every freaking thing. With like
Yeah.
you can't not know what this is. And he's like, well, damn. Hashtag respect.
It's only hashtag respecting you because he's afraid that you're just gonna be too mad at him, like because you went off on him for not respecting.
Come on, man. I do not know
Table flips and everything. Come on.
There's nothing like a good table flip. I love that you lay down the Hearthstone table in the game now, and then you can flip the table. Flip the Hearthstone table.
Did you just get that?
No, I actually got it on like day one, but I love it.
There's no way you could have gotten it on day one. Quit telling lies, Will.
On day one of them, that's my mission. I had that as a level 90 mission in my level 1 garrison, because I got that because you get that and you get it with a
you get the card with the mission. You can get the table and the winning Hearthstone hand from Benjamin Brode.
Oh, is it really that way around?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure you don't get you get the table and you get the
They get the autographed card from the from the mission.
Oh, there you go. So it wasn't day one. You're right. It wasn't day one. Well, fine.
Yeah, caught you in a lie.
God no. But what I know, because in that mission, you also get the. Is it the card that means you can rewrite an ability?
You get the Hearthstone strategy guide.
God, I was so because I had no idea. I was like, oh, this looks cool. Like used it. At
Yeah,
level
of course.
90.
Like
I'm
used it and like, oh,
I was so mad.
I have gotten so few of those the training certificates. My main
Apparently,
character,
right?
I got one.
Right,
One.
same here,
All
same
the other
here.
characters are like, all the other characters are just swimming in them. But that first character,
Yeah, my GM
one.
was like, he logs in the other day and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad these stack." I'm like, "Hey, at least you got enough to have them." I mean, I would not
It's
know
like
that.
to have them stack. Yeah,
They stack. You mean they actually drop more than once? What do you mean?
it's like when they made it so that the salvage crate stacked. They're like, oh look guys, the crate stacked. And I was like, well, that's generally what you do with crates. That's why they're so damn useful. They're not bags. Bags you just put in a pile in the corner of the room. But crates you can stack.
They should make it so bags don't stack. But actually, if you leave a bag in your backpack, that it starts to spill more.
Right.
That's what they. That's what they should do.
That system just start like open like as you fly or as you ride around like content shifted.
Oh, Blizzard! If only you listened to us and had great ideas. This is how you troll. This is how you troll people in April.
Oh, I did. I learned something. I learned something this week.
Oh,
For the longest time, I could all my other characters. I could deposit everything into the guild, into my bank, into my reagents tab.
Mm.
But my warrior, for some reason, could not deposit into the reagents tab. And I found out that if you set a bag to ignore, it also means that it will ignore it when you go to deposit things into your reagents tab.
Oh.
Yeah.
This explains stuff for me now too.
The reason why I set bags to ignore was because in the UI, when you set a bag to, like, I want this bag to be equipment and I want this bag to be consumables, the indicator is a dot. Now, to anybody who understands UI, a dot is a radio button and it's mutually exclusive. It's not something you can check off. But you can check that off. Right? I didn't realize that, so I had just ignored the bag because I was tired of things just automatically going into that bag or them, sorting that way. Yep. So that actually prevented me from depositing reagents automatically.
This explains so much.
Mm-hmm. The more you know.
You know that goes through my head as well. It's like a PSA. Oh, flip. All right. Well, I should be like next week. Stubby will be broadcasting from his PC without rage, but I didn't want to make such a promise.
Yeah, who knows? It is still Windows. It is still Windows. I'm trying to get back to it and be that guy that's like, you know what? It still boots on millions of computers a day with different configurations with no problem.
Well, that's the problem, is that you're adding the word "no problem" at the end there. I mean, it boots on millions of computers every day.
Well, what I mean is that it boots. It actually starts up. It runs.
Right.
That's there's no problem. It actually runs. But still, I kid you not, I can have 17 different applications running on my Mac. I have 17 different, and all of them have multiple windows open, and it's solid.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like Windows is just terrible at multitasking.
Mac has just got a great way of managing all of that. Though. It really does.
Well, Mac actually threads.
Yes, that's what it is.
How Windows multiprocesses is that it actually has a cycle, and every time it cycles, it addresses every single application, and it sees like, are you busy? Do you need me to do something? That's how it does multitasking.
Right.
But Mac on OS X, the moment that multi-core processors came into being, it started assigning applications to those different cores. So as a core became available, it could take on the load of the other one, and and it basically actively monitors what core is doing what and assigns applications to them. It's a like it's a sad thing that Windows will never be able to do that because Apple has surely put a patent on it.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, you would have thought.
well, I just know how they are. They're assholes. But
Rich ones like
I'm
that.
yeah,
That's what it takes.
I can't complain. I can't complain. They do way more with with way less, but charge way more for it. But
Alright.
I haven't paid for an operating system in years from them. So
Right. I mean, that's the well. Are Windows going to move in that direction?
I don't think so. No, because they're not the walled garden that Apple is. Apple sells you the hardware. They don't really have to sell you the operating system because you need the hardware for the operating system.
Right.
Microsoft doesn't have that. They don't make the hardware. They've been trying to move that direction with the Surface, but I don't think the Surface is ever going to go where they want it to go. They want the Surface to be perceived as like this is a replacement for your computer.
Right.
But the tablet computer is not a replacement for your computer.
No, that's true. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've bitched to everybody today. So
Well, I'm glad I didn't miss out.
you didn't miss an opportunity for me to bitch at you.
Man, I'll take it. Boy, if I can just get it, then I know.
Then you will have arrived.
It's all of the. It's all of the all of the million other freaking things that run. Like you have to run like if you got like your Nvidia card, you're running all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't even have that installed yet. I'm dreading.
Right, but like you've got that running. You've got. I mean, it's just there's when I pop up in Task Manager, there's just like so much crap running.
Well, it's like I've got so I have the Asus application running, and now I'm thinking, why in the world do I have this application running? What is it? What is actually running this? It basically lets me monitor my CPU temperature, the voltage. But do I really? Okay, so I'm running less than 40 degrees on my CPU. Done. Don't need to know more. I just know that I know that my CPU is super cool. Done. I never have to look at that again, but it's still running. Let's just exit that. Now that I've complained about that, let's exit. Matter of fact, let's go into control panel and start doing a uninstall a bunch of programs. Let's go on a spree. Remote Go? I have no idea what that is. You're gone. They do have one program on here that I can see as being useful. They have an application called Boot Setting. And what that does is actually make it so that you can slow down the time when it boots so that you can actually get into the BIOS.
Oh.
Because that BIOS screen is like, it's there and it's gone.
Yeah. The other thing that bugs me is that the amount of times it will try and force recommended suggestions for you, like very recommended settings, and you have to go through. And sometimes I feel like with every update that it just messes with my recommended settings. I'm like, no, I didn't want it to be that. Why did you do that? It's like a Windows, man.
Windows. Man. Just Windows.
Just Windows. Alright, I will, I'll let you go, and I will speak to you soon.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna bye everybody. I'm gonna stop broadcasting.